Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here today for our first town hall meeting regarding Pleasant Acres. My name is Glenn Smith, and I'm the county solicitor. And on behalf of the commissioners, the importance of this issue is obvious based on the turnout today. So we thank each and every one of you for being here. The format for tonight is going to consist, first of all, of an update. So we're going to give you an update as to where things are and what a prospective timeline looks like going forward. After that, we are then going to open up for public comment, and we've allotted 1 hour. Before we begin the public comment, there's going to be some rules and procedures that we're going to go through to make sure that this goes through in an orderly fashion. But before that, I'd like to introduce the folks that are seated up at the table. So first of all, we have President Commissioner Susan Burns is with us tonight. Vice President Commissioner Doug Hoke, Commissioner Chris Riley, County Administrator Mark Durr, Director of HR Christy Bixler, Director of Facilities Scott Castle. And then also with us is Jay Wenger. Jay is with Susquehanna Group Advisors, and he will be providing the update for us today. So without further delay, Jay Wenger.
Good evening. I recognize a lot of faces from the day and evening we spent in the facility talking about the process. So much of what I'm going to say you probably have heard, but for those who weren't part of those meetings, this certainly will be, we hope, beneficial. A little bit of background of how the commissioners have decided that exploring a sale of the nursing home is the right thing to do from a county governance perspective. For the last 10 plus years, Pleasant Acres has operated at a loss. Those losses continue to grow. The budgeted operating deficit for the full 12 months of 2018 is expected to be in excess of $11 million. In addition to that, they expect that to grow in 19 and 20 and the years beyond, as well as having to continue to put capital into technology, physical plant, equipment, etc. So the needs of Pleasant Acres continue to grow while they operate with a very constrained revenue structure under the Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement systems. By way of what's going on in the marketplace, there are 67 counties in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. There was a time when well over half of those counties owned and operated a skilled nursing center. There's no legal requirement to do so, so a lot of the what you might call very rural counties along the northern tier of Pennsylvania were never in the business. Today there are less than 20 counties that own and operate a skilled nursing center. I can't reveal names, but I can tell you there are at least 3 other counties in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, aside from the New York County Commissioners, that are seriously contemplating the sale of their nursing homes for the exact same reasons that it's being considered in York County. By way of process, we have provided and published a request for proposal. We call it an RFP. It has gone to in excess of 20 potential owner-operators of existing nursing homes. Some of those we've worked with in the past. Some have been bidders and not been awarded facilities in Pennsylvania. Some are brand new to the process. So we think it has drawn a lot of interest because of its size and location, and we think it has a lot of value in the marketplace. There are conditions that will be put upon those buyers that I'll talk about in a moment, just to give you some understanding of what the commissioners are trying to accomplish in this process. In our experience, very few jobs, very few nursing home jobs are lost as a result of the transition. There are a couple of things to keep in mind, and I see a lot of employees here. The best employee that any employer can have coming in as the new boss is the person who's already coming to work every day, knows their job, and does their job. In the business world, it's expensive to advertise, interview, hire, train, and retain. Everybody who comes through the building, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Tammy, but you can confirm what I'm going to tell everybody, they would all prefer that everybody stayed and kept their job and operates under the new ownership. We also experience in these transitions where there is a very keen focus on quality of care. So this idea or rumor that's going around that quality of care nosedives the minute a new owner comes into Pleasant Acres, in our experience, that has not happened in any county. Most of the surrounding counties have sold their skilled nursing home, and I think if you talk to those people in those counties, they would tell you that it's been a very positive experience. The new owner, probably the first thing they will do is come in and actively recruit to fill the vacant spots that you have. You have quite a bit of agency labor in the facility, which means there are job openings. The new owner's going to want to diminish the amount of agency labor because they like continuity of employees. They want people who are fully vested in the resident care and the company, not somebody who's a floater going from facility to facility on a week-to-week or day-to-day basis. Again, quality of care and employee performance are very, very important to anybody coming in, as well as to the commissioners as they evaluate who's going to acquire this facility. So some of the conditions that the county is going to impose on a buyer is, number one, they have to commit to operating it as a skilled nursing center for 15 years. If some point in that 15-year time frame they want to sell it, it has to be sold to another recognized owner-operator of skilled care facilities in Pennsylvania. Based on the amount of money somebody's going to pay for this facility, they're not looking to come in and change what it is. They're going to change how some things are done, and they're going to try to improve the revenue stream, and they're going to try to decrease the agency labor. But they're going to have to accept all the residents who are in the facility today. So no resident will be discharged as a result of a new owner coming in. If a family chooses to move their family member to another facility, they certainly have that right, but there will be no obligation or mandate that a resident leaves Pleasant Acres if and when this facility were to be sold. They also have to pledge that they will maintain an approximate equal Medicaid census as exists today. Right now your Medicaid census is pushing 90%, close to that, so we'll probably set the bar at about 80%. Which means that for the duration of this period of ownership, that they can't come in and say, okay, we don't like the Medicaid population, we're going to bring in a bunch of Medicare eligible residents and we're going to turn it into a private pay facility. It's not their intention to change the complexion of the business, and it's certainly not the commissioner's expectation or intention that they would be allowed to do that. So there are some covenants embedded into the agreement that will force them, one, to keep all the residents who are currently there and eligible for skilled care, and keep every resident who's in one of the independent living units. Two, they will maintain a Medicaid census very close to what is there today. And part of the evaluation process is to understand how they view the labor force and what, if any, changes they would propose to make. So as we go through this process of evaluating potential buyers, one, we expect a lot of interest, so that gives us a lot of picking and choosing to do. Two, it will give us a lot of information across various respondents and proposers to evaluate what we hear and what we see. Three, once we narrow that down to a small group, we're going to go, if you will, kick the tires. So that means that the commissioners, along with the group that Commissioner Burns is going to introduce, are going to literally get on a bus, ride to facilities that the potential owner owns and operates, or buyer owns and operates, and we're going to see how they do business, see how those employees are interacting with residents, see how the residents react to the employees, look at the facility, see if they actually do invest into the physical plant as they promise they will, see if they do invest in technology as they say they do. So this is not going to be a blind process where we just take their word for what we do. We're going to load the bus, take some people other than commissioners so that we get more eyes and more ears on the process. There are times when somebody who's not directly involved in this transaction might hear or see something that one of us doesn't see, so that's very beneficial in the process. So I will take a break there and let Commissioner Burns introduce that group.
Sorry. The group is just forming right now, but so far the group that is going to be going with us on these site visits will be Tammy Hetrick, our administrator. It'll be Mrs. Karen Stollenwert, and her husband is on second floor, I believe, and Theda Gwynald, who is one of the occupational therapists at Pleasant Acres, and Father Carl Tancredi. So at this point, we're open. If we don't want a huge bus going, but if we can, if some of you want to self-identify that you would like to go, please give me a call. And that will be also with the commissioner. So thank you.
We are in the very early stages of the process, and as I said, we have issued a request for proposal to 20 plus firms. We have had a very positive response thus far. The first thing they have to do is execute a non-disclosure agreement so that information regarding the operations of Pleasant Acres is held in the highest level of confidence that we can provide. And so we've had 12 or 13, I forget the count as of 5 o'clock today, potential buyers that have executed that non-disclosure agreement. That doesn't necessarily mean they are interested in buying. It means they are interested in looking at the information to see if they would have further interest. We have had 3 site visits. We've had 3 companies tour the facility thus far. We've had a request for 1 later this week, so by the end of the week there will have been 4. Their deadline for submitting their interest is March 15th. So at that point in time, and as I said to many of you the day this was announced when we had the shift meetings, we'll know on March 15th what interest we have, and that will be step number 1 to determine, based on what is in writing and what we know about these firms in the marketplace from our prior experience, whether or not it's worth going to step 2, which would be a further interview with some number of them to better identify what they do, how they do it, and how well we believe, we being the commissioners, believe they would fit into the culture of York County. And so in all of the transactions we've been involved in, we have never sold to the highest bidder because we firmly believe that price is not the most important consideration in this process, albeit an important consideration. On one hand, we're not willing to give it to somebody for less than it's worth, but we certainly aren't interested in giving it to the highest bidder if we don't believe that is the best owner-operator for Pleasant Acres for decades to come. And so all of that will be vetted as we move forward. The next mark date of significance for all of you will be March 15th. Those proposals will be opened in a public meeting. It will be public information as to how many submitted a proposal, who they are specifically, and what price tag they have identified initially. Keep in mind that the price tag they identify initially probably is not the final price tag. There is a kind of a second and third iteration of pricing to get to a more exact number of what they're willing to pay after we negotiate all the terms and conditions, including reviewing the resident mix and the employees, etc. So there are a lot of factors that go into this that might alter the final price tag that we won't know, and the buyers won't know as of March 15th. But that will be the first date at which we'll really be able to say to you, these are the firms that have expressed interest, and you will know what price tag they've attached to it. Assuming it goes well beyond that and the commissioners identify a buyer that they would like to negotiate final terms and conditions with, we would expect that to occur April, early May. Our goal would be to transition the business assets, meaning the operations of Pleasant Acres, as quickly as possible so that you as employees know what your future holds, what the next boss, who the next boss is, what their business plan is, and what your expectations should be of them, including their benefit packages. So there will be time in there for them to come in, meet you as, again, much like we did on the shift conversions, introduce themselves, talk about what they do, what their mission is in the senior living business, and then ultimately introduce their benefit packages to you so that you will have more than enough time to evaluate what those benefit packages are. You will also have an opportunity to meet with the county's human relations folks to understand what your outgoing benefits are. So for those of you who have accrued paid time off, that money would be, those days would be due to you in form of a payment on the last day of ownership by the county. For those of you who are vested in the pension plan, you'll have a pension benefit decision to make whether or not you want to take a lump sum distribution or leave your funds in the plan. So as employees, you do not lose that benefit, but you'll have a decision to make as to what you want to do with that plan benefit individually. All of that will be introduced to you before we get to a closing date, so that you've had enough time to sit down, think about it, talk to your family members, talk to your financial advisors, and make an informed decision. The ultimate transfer of the real estate takes more time than the business asset. We would hope to have that accomplished later in 2018, probably the fall. But there's some real estate issues that take more time to resolve than the business asset issues. And so we would like, again, in the interest of being able to help you identify your future as quickly as possible, transfer the business asset at a date that would be in advance of the real estate transfer. Did I miss anything? Okay, I'm going to turn it back to Glenn to discuss the procedural protocols here and open it up for public comment.
Thank you, Jay. So before we begin the public comment, two items, and I can speak on behalf of the commissioners, in speaking with several of you before tonight began. First of all, I want to reiterate that this is not a done deal. This is an exploration that the commissioners are taking. And then second of all, transparency is critical, and the commissioners believe that complete transparency will be provided at every opportunity. So you can anticipate updates at each of the Board of Commissioners meetings. You can certainly come to them or catch them on television, and we will also be providing other periodic updates as we can. Finally, there will be 2 more town hall meetings. Both of them will be here. Both of them are at 6:30. The next one is scheduled for March 7th, and then the last one will be at March 27th. So everyone is certainly welcome to attend those as well. So now on for the public comment. Some of the rules that we'll be having today. First of all, we ask you to please be conscientious of the time that you take in providing your comments. While your comments are important, we do wish to hear from as many people that wish to speak here today. We are going to be starting this very shortly, and from that time we will be allotting 1 hour, and at the end of that time we will be ending public comment. If you wish to speak and don't have an opportunity, we certainly encourage you to come back to one of the other 2 town halls that I already mentioned. If you do wish to speak, we ask that you do come forward to the podium, and before doing so, please state your name and also the municipality in which you reside in. As I mentioned, each speaker, be conscientious of your time. You will be afforded 1 opportunity to speak, so if you speak, go sit down. We ask that you not come forward again in order to provide opportunity for other individuals to speak. Public comment is not intended to require the commissioners to answer questions. This is an opportunity for them to hear you. So this is an opportunity for them to hear you. However, to the extent that there are responses the commissioners can have to clarify a question, they are certainly welcome to do so. We ask that speakers should at all times maintain proper decorum and make their comments in a civil manner. We certainly recognize that this is an emotional issue for many of you, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. No person will be allowed to make obscene, derogatory, or slanderous remarks. So, with that having said, I have 6:47, and we will begin the public comment. So whoever would wish to speak, please come forward, and again, please state your name and the municipality that you reside in. Sir.
My name is Will Williams, and I do have a lot of respect for Pleasant Acres because my brother was here. My brother was here 2 years and 1 month. And what my subject is going to be is about money. My brother passed away about 3 years ago, fell out of bed, broke his leg. 4 days later, he was dead. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about money. I look over his bills. He was in a room with 4 people. His bill was $107,000 plus what they got from the state. That's a lot of money if you time that 4 in one little room. So what I'm talking about is an example, the way the county takes and moves money around to make different projects look good. A very good example is the Strickler house that they had sitting over here. They took a bond out for $7.5 million to renovate that. And all of a sudden they scratched their head and said, my God, we got to look at the county director here. He come over and said, we don't have no room for parking and it's too close to the prison. So we're going to use that money we put there in the 911 center. So when they say about money here, I really don't believe what they're talking about when they say it's costing a pile of money. I'm sure it might be a little bit, but they get real good. And believe me, politicians will tell you anything to make it look good on their side. So if you people, And it's right there in the newspaper about the Strickler house. Believe me, I read that article and I was so disappointed. They spent all that money for somebody to come in, an architect, and say, well, we have to see if this is suitable for the county morgue. Believe me, when they spend that kind of money, $7.5 million, and then turn around and use it somewhere else, how do you know what they're doing to here? Like I just told you, the figures of my brother's cost was here for 2 years, plus all the state money they got, in one little room with 4 other people all together. Somebody isn't telling the truth, people.
My name's Patty. I am employed at Pleasant Acres. I'm not here tonight because I'm getting ready to basically lose my position in with the county. I'm not worried about that. My concern is last year on February 18th in the York Daily Record, there was an article in there, and I'm going to read what was written in that article. It says, at the other end of the age spectrum is this: how much are tax willers willing to spend to ensure senior citizens do not end up on the streets? That came from somewhere downtown. And for you guys to sit up here and say everybody is guaranteed to stay where they are, which may be true, but I'm talking about the next generation coming up. Where are they going to go? Where are all these people in here going to go? Where are your kids going to go? Their kids, your grandchildren, because most likely they're going to be getting Medicare, Medicaid. And you all know, when you privatize a home, they don't have to take it. And with you being in the nursing field, Susan, I do respect that. You know how important it is for shelter and nutrition. People get old, they don't ask to get old. People get injured, they don't ask to get injured. There's all kinds of reasons why people are in this nursing home. You need to focus on that. Take care of them. They didn't ask for it. Some of the things you guys take care of, they asked for it. The prisons, they asked to be in the prisons.
That's right.
You know, these people are not asking to be where they are.
Hi, my name is Tracy, and I am an employee at Pleasant Acres, but this is absolutely not self-serving. The gentleman that spoke first went over all the benefits and made it sound like we were all here for ourselves. I believe for the first time I can speak for everyone here, we are not here for ourselves. We are here for these residents. We do have some things to lose, and we do have a personal interest. But I guarantee you, if you knew the job that we did, it takes heart, not just a paycheck. Amen. So I'd just like to read, because I'm a little nervous, but I just want to say that I looked up Pleasant Acres online, and it was listed under our social services that we provide of York County. And their part of their mission statement reads, to provide the citizens of York County a long-term care facility that maintains the highest level of resident care available. That's our mission statement. The median income of York County residents is $58,000. That's two parents working. $58,000 when you're raising a family doesn't go very far. People don't have what it takes to put back for retirement like they need to, because they're trying to provide college. They're trying to provide futures for their families. They go to work every day. You don't have time to think about aging. That's the least of your worries for a long, long time, until you turn around and you are at that age. Then you're stuck. I never knew what it was like to look at $260,000 of taxpayers' money until I look over here. The median age of York County is 41, which means that a lot of our parents are aging. So we have a lot more to worry about than just our jobs. We have our parents. And about all the social services that you provide to the county, I've been very fortunate that I haven't had to use York County Prison Services. I haven't had to use children and youth. I haven't had to use any of those types of things. But the one thing that I 100% can guarantee that is a possibility for me to use is a county nursing home. That's all of us in here. All of us are going to age. And that is the only service that is provided by the county that we may qualify for. You know, we always talk about the opioid epidemic, but really we do have an elderly epidemic as well. We are an aging population here in York County. In York County's average population right now is 445,000. In the year 2030, which is only 11 years away, 89,000 or more will be elderly. 33% of those people cannot afford basic needs. And basic is basic. It's shelter, it's food, it's heat in the winter, cooling in the summer. Where are they to go? You think a private person, a private pay, or privatizing nursing home is going to take part of those 90,000 people? They're there to make a profit. And I, sir, will tell you, it is not a rumor that you get less quality care for a private nursing home. It is fact and it's research.
Hi, my name is Robin Frame. I live over at Pleasant Acres. Okay, you are going to sell this building to somebody else, okay? How do you can guarantee you're going to keep everything the same way it is now? I've been over, when I first came over at Pleasant Acres, it's going to be almost 8 years till I fractured my tailbone. That's why I came over here. And everybody that I got attached to, half of the people passed away or they went somewhere else. And everybody there, when I first came, yeah, I was upset. I was down and out. I was crying. But everybody, when I got used to everybody, they looked like a big family of mine. And they still are a big family of mine. Because I know everybody is in there. Even when somebody come in new, they're like a family. And I want to keep it that way. All of us over in Pleasant Acres who live there like to keep it that way. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking Paul, and the other residents over there cannot speak their mind. Like, if you ever need something, if somebody ever get hurt, they're right there on the spot helping you out. In this way, this business that you guys are doing, it's nonsense. How can you guarantee? Oh, yeah, you might sit up there, act like what she's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Everybody who works at the Pleasant Acres, when I first got there and started crying at it, everybody came up and checked, see if I'm okay or anything. They came up every 5 minutes to check on me. You go, Robin. And that's big families right there. We stick together. We ain't gonna let you guys tear us down and build new people in there. No. We are there to beat you guys down. like I said, this is good family matters with me. They help me out and everything. And that's all I gotta say. And thank you.
I'm not sure I can follow that. But I'll try. My name is Stephanie Freed and I reside in New York City. Good evening and thank you for holding these meetings for the taxpayer voters of York County to be heard. I am not as good as everyone else, so I'm going to read what I have written because I'll get very emotional if I don't. I'm going to borrow this from another co-worker, another nurse, by starting out by saying, sadly, the hardest working generation in American history fill our long-term care facilities today. Their generation worked multiple jobs, struggled to put food on the table, scrambled to find clothes for their backs, and a decent roof over their head. They now find themselves in a society that doesn't value their sacrifice and struggles. It is truly mind-boggling that we have no ethical or moral compass to ensure that our elderly have a locally funded facility to call home once they are unable to reside in their own residence safely. We fund programs for criminals, drug addiction, and illegal aliens, yet our elderly citizens that have been protected members of our society and paid more than their fair share of taxes are listed as the best option on the chopping block. My name is Stephanie MacDonald Freed. I was contemplating an appropriate opening and research quotes about elder care. Here are a few that I found. Love, care, and treasure the elderly people in our society. Caregiving will never be a one-size-fits-all. As care recipients advocate, don't accept the status quo and don't be afraid to voice your concerns. My caregiving mantra is to remember the only control you have over the changes is what you choose to make it. I am here tonight to represent my late grandmother, late father, late mother, and my late eldest sister. Grace Wise, Raymond McDonald, Ruth McDonald, and Yvonne McDonald. Those names sound familiar, don't they, Susan? 4 York County residents who were hardworking, God-fearing, tax-paying past residents of Pleasant Acres. They, like so many past and present residents, relied on this institution to provide quality, loving care to them as they aged and their illnesses progressed. When my parents each became incapacitated due to the cruel disease of Alzheimer's, my siblings and I made the choice to place them at Pleasant Acres. We made this choice because of the high quality of care given in this facility. My parents both entered as private pay, therefore we could have placed them in any other long-term care facility, but we made this choice, a choice I embraced and never have regretted. As the youngest of 6 children, I, like many, wavered at times in my early 20s as to where I fit in. What would I be, and would I ever be good at anything? I started my career in nursing at 18 as a CNA at another long-term care facility in York and made the decision to attend nursing school. I came to love geriatrics and continue to do so 38 years after starting my first nursing job. You see, we lack so much compassion and respect in this country of ours for the aging and elderly. We live in a disposable society and one of instant gratification. Things are always being tossed away. Now, sadly, we have moved on to our elderly. These individuals are wise, educated by books and experiences, full of common sense and memories. I have laughed and cried with them countless times. I have held many hands as they crossed the bridge from this earthly dwelling to the next dimension and to our heavenly Lord and God. I was fortunate and blessed to have been given sound advice and direction from an older nurse to, quote, go apply at the county home. She assured me I would, in her opinion, see everything. She meant I would learn so much more in a larger facility, and since it was county run, I would come in contact with people with various issues, disease processes, and of course from all walks of life. I took her advice, went to nursing school and graduated and applied, was hired, and proud to say I gave 26 years of service to PANARC. I am most proud of those years of my life. I learned so much working there, learned nursing policies and procedures. I was taught the right way to do things. I learned rules and regulations and how to interact with the Department of Health. I served 8 years as the infection control nurse, mentored and taught new and existing employees. What I learned at Pleasant Acres wasn't all nursing related either. I met all kinds of people and learned a lot from all of them. The elderly have so much wisdom to offer if we listen to them. I learned from them how to be a better human being. I was extremely proud of the facility because we were always able to give these hardworking, tax-paying citizens and voters what they needed. We cared for people from all walks of life. I formed bonds with employees that will stay strong until the day I leave this earth. I was taught daily by the outstanding physicians that have worked there. The people both living and working at Pleasant Acres participated in my growing up. They celebrated the birth of my sons and grandsons with me. They respected me and my work ethic. They held my hand, gave me hugs, and fellow employees offered freely paid time off time when I fought and survived breast cancer. They dried my tears when my parents passed away and consoled me when my sister died. They are my second family. The employees that work at Pleasant Acres know their residents better than they know some of their families. They care for them and they care about them. They even spoil them a bit. There are no other people that anyone would find to provide such quality care. The people of York County need and want Pleasant Acres. It needs to be saved and saved as the county home run by York County. There will be concessions to be made, but I firmly believe that keeping this facility county-run can be done. Pleasant Acres is needed, respected, and worthy of our time and money. It is just, if not, more worthy than the prison or the methadone clinics.
Amen.
I implore you as elected officials of this county to dig deep, research, listen to, and work with the employees of the nursing home and find ways to rescue and preserve Pleasant Acres as the county home.
Amen.
Hello, my name is Annika Ritter and I reside in Spring Garden Township and I am an employee at Pleasant Acres. What I sit here and I'm hearing from everybody in this, well, as far as this panel up here, I don't quite understand how you can go and you can visit other nursing homes and see if they're a good fit or how they're run when I can say I only seen one of you in Pleasant Acres. I don't see any of you on the floor. I don't see any of you coming to see our residents. So how can you sell a nursing home when you only know your nursing home on paper? You don't know your nursing home. You don't know your residents. You know nothing but what you see on paper. And from what I'm hearing, that's dollar signs. And it's too much for you. But we have everything else. But we can't keep a nursing home. But you can keep everything you have. You sleep at night. We don't. We don't know where our residence is going. We don't know where we're going. We know nothing. But we know that you don't know your nursing home. But you know it on paper. And on paper, we're in debt. That means nothing. Susan, you're the only one I've ever really seen. And another thing, Pleasant Acres is more than just main one. When you come and you, like I seen you bringing your buyers or potential buyers, there's 5 floors in that nursing home, not just one. Don't show off the prettiest floor in that whole building. You can show every floor. Because when you go on the floor, that's what it is. But I appreciate your time and I would hope that you would actually come visit your nursing home before you try to find a better person to buy your nursing home. Even though we should.
Hi, my name is Debbie. I live in Newberry Township. I'm getting over the flu and laryngitis, so sorry if it's hard to hear. Imagine that your grandfather is able to live on his own with minimal assistance till one day he's 91 and he gets sick, goes into a hospital, and a week later you're told there's no way he can live on his own anymore. You try to come up with ways to keep them home, but between your work obligations, family health issues, and the prohibitive costs to get home health care, your family's only choice is to put your grandfather into a nursing facility. You research, you make visits, you finally find a place that seems like it's a good fit, like a home. You move your grandfather in, and it seems nice, food is good, nurses are caring and helpful. And then a month later, you notice changes. Less nurses, less care, and you receive a notice that the home was sold to another company and they're increasing your monthly payments. And other changes will be coming. They'll let you know what they are when they decide. And as the months go by, the fees keep going up as improvements are implemented. You see exhausted nurses working double shifts because they have to make up for teammates who left due to poor wages or working conditions. Changes are implemented on medicines. You find out that they won't take your medications through the dispensing facility that your insurance will take. So you have to go with theirs, and it's all out of pocket. This is just some of the problems that we saw when my grandfather was diagnosed with dementia. We moved him after a year to another private home with more nursing care and a specialized dementia section. Still saw the same issues with changing cost and not enough care. The elderly are rarely fortunate enough to have plenty of disposable income to pay for both their medications, their health care, and their living. They need to have a place to stay, and they need to have people who can take care of them, who care about them. If my grandfather had not passed when he did, we would have eventually had to move him to the county home. He did not have enough money to keep paying for his medications, for his health care. And so we would have relied on Pleasant Acres. I know that the employees of a few county homes, and I know they're all caring, they're all competent, they do everything that they can to make sure that these elderly people are able to get the care that they need. They work so hard for not enough pay. They work more hours than anybody should have to work because they truly care. They don't care about their paychecks. They care that the grandparents of their friends, their families in their area are being taken care of the way that they should be taken care of. Please don't make the mistake of selling Pleasant Acres to just another company. They don't care about the people. They only care about the money that they can bring in.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Zesla, and I am a very proud CNA. You guys were talking about guarantee. I came from another county, Lehigh Valley, and I was working for a private home. It's not the same. It's not at all. It's all about the Benjamins. When your charge nurse tells you, come on, Brenda, let's go, we gotta get this done, let's go. That's not hard. That's Benjamins. Now, I wake up every day wanting not to go to work, wanting to go to my passion. Because I have residents that have Alzheimer's, but I have residents that they know my name, and they don't even remember their family's name. And for those residents, is that why I'm here? I'm their voice. I wake up and I look at my husband, I look at my daughter. My daughter, thank God, is going to Penn State. And my motto now is, we are Pleasant Acres strong. We are Pleasant Acres strong. These ladies right here, nobody can imagine how grateful I am. My family and neighbors lost it all in Hurricane Maria. I work 16-hour shifts to provide for a poverty family. My dad was a veteran, and through the county, he was able to survive. He died, and thanks to being in the county, I was able to go and bury my dad. Working in a private facility, you don't have that one-on-one attention. You don't have that one-on-one bond. I sing to my residents. People say I'm crazy. I don't care. I don't care. I make them laugh. When I used to work in the Lehigh Valley, I couldn't do that. It was 8 aides. And we didn't have that one-on-one. Here we can have 5 aides. And you know what? It's called teamwork, and we get it done. We get it done. Why we get it done? Not because we're making extra money, not because we're putting in that overtime and chasing what I call the Benjamins. We get it done because we have heart. And if you don't have heart, you might as well just sit right there.
Hi, I'm Sherry Fulcher. I'm also an employee at Pleasant Acres. I have written a letter to the commissioners, and in this letter is several questions. I know we're about out of time, and some of them are going to be a little tough. You won't have answers right away tonight anyway. So I'm going to leave a copy with you, and if we could get answers back to these questions by the next meeting. So at the first meeting with employees Monday, January 29th, you stated that employees are doing an excellent job, and that the problem is that you, the commissioners, do not know how to run a nursing home. The commissioners of York have been overseeing the home since it was passed to the directors of the poor in 1805. Your solution to the budget shortfall is to explore selling it to a private entity. Our first question is, have you explored all options for saving the county home before reaching this decision? Have you considered creating a philanthropy outreach position or asking the community employees for support and ideas? Last year, you signed a nearly $1 million contract with Complete Healthcare Resources, or CHR, to help find ways to save money. So far, how much money has been saved by CHR? If the home is sold now, the county states that they are still obligated to pay them for the remainder of the 3-year contract. Before signing, how much research and thought did you put into it, and why now, only after 1 year, have you chosen to pursue selling? You stated that you have put in $10 million for repairs and improvements. Can you tell us specifically what this money was used for? Most of the improvements we have seen over the past year are cosmetic, such as painting and landscaping. This work is being done by our own plan ops people who are already accounted for in our budget. Such improvements would be in order for someone planning to sell. What specifically is planned for the additional $8 to $10 million that you have stated is still needed? There are still many windows that leak, flooding problems on the ground floor and in the tunnels, pest control issues, elevators that are constantly breaking down, as well as many other problems that have been neglected for years. Have you considered cuts to other areas of the county budget to offset the rising cost at Pleasant Acres? You state that the county is required to have a prison, but still have not answered the question, does it need to be as large or as costly for the taxpayers as it is? Right. Approximately $34.1 million annually was the last of 3 figures that we were given in the past 2 weeks. Last year you raised our taxes again 12% and state that you will have to raise them again if the home is not sold. However, the average cost to the taxpayers to run the home is $7.5 annually, only about 3% of the general fund, or about 1/5 of the cost to run the prison. Have you considered cuts to many unnecessary perks and programs for the employees of York County? For example, the annual Revolution ball game. The county pays for all interested employees to attend and also gives away an array of expensive prizes at the game, as well as to employees who do not attend throughout the workday. There are countless seminars, training, and self-help programs offered that do not pertain to our jobs, and that interested employees could pay for themselves. Certain employees are also afforded additional perks, such as meal, gas, hotel reimbursements, free meals, and much more. In the county email sent last week titled, "Frequently Asked Questions About the Process to Explore the Sale of Pleasant Acres," one of the questions was, has the county reviewed the deed to determine if there is a restriction imposed by the original landowner? The answer is the county is not aware of any deed restrictions. This clearly did not answer the question. So again, has the county yet reviewed the deed and or the will of the landowner? If so, what were the findings? Another question that was on there was, when will the families of Pleasant Acres residents be advised? The answer states that they received a letter on Monday, January 31st. This is false. Monday was January 29th, the same day that the employees were notified via meetings throughout the day. The letters were enveloped and addressed by our receptionist on that same day, and then mailed and sent. Are you at all concerned? Did you review this email before it was sent? And are you at all concerned about the future of the home, or for the taxpayers who pay your salaries and may need the county home as we age? Have you considered lowering your own lavish salaries and benefit packages?
Misappropriation of funds.
My name is Sharon Billett, and I speak as, first of all, my mother was in a private nursing home. And I would go in there after work every day and I would say, "How's my mother today?" And the nurse would look at me and say, "Who's your mother?" I would give them their name, I would give them her name, and they would say, "Well, we really don't know because we're agency nurses and we're here one day and gone the next." Well, this doesn't make a family member feel too good when their mother is paying good money to be in a nursing home. Luckily, and this may sound harsh, she died in the 2 months that Medicare paid because I would not have been able to keep her in a home. So she would have had to go to Pleasant Acres and she would have gotten good care. As I did not say, but I am the president of the Ladies Auxiliary. I am in that home practically every day. Now, I will tell you something. We have about 20, I would say, and maybe I'm a little bit high on that, hard-working women in our organization. We have a lot of other people that are members of the auxiliary who do not do anything. But I will tell you one thing. With these 20 people, we have been able to, whenever Pleasant Acres comes to us and says, we need privacy curtains. Do you think you could afford to buy them? Because it's not in our budget. We need pillows for our residents. Do you think you could go and buy them for us? We spent from, I would say, September until December, over $40,000 on the home. We bought 100 mattresses for the home to the tune of $23,000, so the residents had a decent mattress. If 20 hardworking people can do this, the county can't figure out a way to finance it. Believe me, I see these people every day coming in here. I see nurses who are working 16 hours a day to provide care for the residents. I see nurses, I see CNA, I even see maintenance men that push those wheelchairs up the ramp because I run the country store and those residents want to come in to spend a little bit of money. They have $45 a month. That averages out to $1.50 a day. for a little something extra of what they get in the nursing home. I don't think that's too much to ask, that we keep a home that these people can be cared for with caring people who will they get a 10-minute break time. They take time out of their break to push these people up to the store so that they can have a little bit of fun. Or if there's a program in the NPR room, they take their time out to see these people can get to the program. We need to think about the people who cannot afford private care, and private care doesn't guarantee you're going to get good care. Pleasant Acres people give good care. They care about the residents.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kitty Hake. I'm a resident of Windsor Township. I have 3 points to make. First of all, my aunt is a resident at Pleasant Acres. She's the last of a generation in our family. She's very dear to me. I grew up next door to her. She was in private nursing home for several years. She was unable to walk when she went into that home. She was in a wheelchair because of a botched surgery when she was 80. She had to go to the hospital after being there about 6 years at this home. And upon release from the hospital, her family was told she can't come back there unless she can walk. She didn't walk into that home. Now they're kicking her out. She's here at Pleasant Acres. She will be 97 in April. Her husband and her had a good life. He was in the trucking industry, introduced many of my family to the trucking industry. But now, at the age of almost 97, the funds are depleted. She doesn't have money anymore. Her only child is in his 70s. He had 2 major surgeries in the last 2 years. His wife is recovering from bladder cancer. There's nobody to take care of her. She isn't laying in a bed not knowing what's going on. She has an excellent mind. She can tell me anything I need to know about the family. I go visit because she remembers it all. She's very keen for her age. Her hearing is good. She can't walk and her sight's bad. Where is somebody like that supposed to go in the future? That's my first point. My second point is the employees. They do an excellent job. This nursing home, when you walk in there, is clean. It doesn't smell. I know of no other home in your county, and I've gone to many, through my church, Christmas caroling, visiting people, that you walked in there, and I'll give you a good example, Manor Care. It stinks. I know many employees who are here tonight. You can be very proud of the job you do. My third point, and my final one, I'm a retired business agent from Teamsters. I represented the folks at this home for 16 years, so I know all about it. I get the financial aspect of it, but I have to say, I begged over those 16 years for commissioners to come out here and visit, not 8 to 5. Get out here at 11 at night, unannounced. Talk to the people. See what the issues are. See what's going on. That never happened. Every time commissioners visited, it was announced. So guess what? And I know you guys know this. Everything was cleaned up, spotless. I've been there in the industry that I was in. Anytime the big wheels were coming in, they made sure it was a good appearance. That's not what it's all about, and that's not how you find out what's going on. And I also have to say, the articles mentioned the last 10 years where the financial issues came in. I was part of that 10 years in representing the people, and many times I took issues downtown personally. It's my opinion they were not thoroughly investigated, and that's a shame. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Councilman Michael Waskovich, Helena Borough, also Democratic candidate for the 47th District, which is this district. Commissioners, I thank you for holding this tonight and allowing us to voice our concerns. I am urging you tonight to withdraw this. Withdraw it completely. My community... My community is less than 3,000 people, and I'd probably say 60% of it is the elderly. Awesome. They will need this. I've run into residents that are confined to their first floor because they have no financial backing. They have no way or know-how of going into one of these homes. They couldn't afford one of these private homes that you're now saying go for it. We know, everyone knows, no one in this room is stupid. We all know that when you go ahead and go to the private industry, care goes down. We all know that. You guys, you commissioners, took out $32 million in bonds to cover various things. Granted, I understand the 911 was unnecessary. But $32 million in bonds to pay out for 10 years. How many years would that keep that running? You can raise taxes on various things. You can take out a hotel tax. How many millions of dollars have you made on the hotel tax? That you can't keep that open? You guys are not hesitant to raise taxes. I will pay. Because guess what? I don't know if I'll have to go into a home. I'm 34 years old. I don't know where I'm going to be in 20 years, and 30 years, and 40 years. Heck, I could be dead tomorrow. We don't know that. I might have to go into one of these homes, and right now I can't afford it. I watched one of my coworkers open up his 401k savings. He's in his 50s when the stock market the past couple weeks was, going down. $44,000 is what he had in his savings. $44,000 at 50-some years old. He's not going to be able to go into a $100,000 resident. Commissioner Burns, I do have one thing for you. In 2015, YDR letter to the editor, a resident in Springersbury Township, asked the question, why Susan Burns for York County Commissioner? The letter said that we should vote for you because of your long history of community service. Here's your chance, community service. Shown your commitment to serving your neighbors. Your neighbors are right there. Those are my neighbors too. Identifying their needs and finding solutions. We're all here asking to find a solution to solve this problem. When building the Burns Health Education Center, you were able to secure the funding and you made it happen. Commissioner Burns, I urge you to make it happen tonight. And keep this out of the hands of the private industry. Commissioner Hoke, you are probably one of the individuals who, in my political realm, you were talked so highly of. I'm calling on you tonight to stop this, to vote the correct way, vote what they want. Commissioner Riley, I'm not going to leave you out. You can finally pat yourself on the back and say your election promises were delivered. You shut it down. That's all you wanted. And commissioners, I'm going to leave you with this.
Shame on you!
That's right.
I want to remind you that you were elected by the people and for the people. Now serve the people.
Good evening. My name is Jim Farringer, and I'm a resident of Springersbury Township. And I have been a volunteer at Pleasant Acres for 46 years, conducting chapel services and various other capacities. I'm not as elegant or as compassionate as some of the people we're here tonight, but I hope you understand that I'm speaking from my heart. First of all, I want you to know that I have the greatest appreciation for the good job that everybody is doing at Pleasant Acres. In my capacity as a lay minister and as a member of a group called the Faith and Prayer Mission, I've been in almost every single convalescent home in this county. Many of them privately owned. And I want you to know something. If tonight, and I'm getting close to it because I'm probably one of the older people here tonight, if I have to go to a convalescent home tonight, I would choose Pleasant Acres above any of the ones that I've been in. Many of them being privately owned and operated. I think that we pride ourselves in that good old-fashioned York County values and morals. And my concern is if this is sold to a private outfit, I don't want to become a New York, perhaps a New York mentality type convalescent home. I think we need to be very careful of that. We have had these morals and these values in York County for a long time, and they're worth fighting for. They're worth standing up for. I also want you to know that I taught for 41 years in the public school system in Central York School District. And it really upset me when people try to run a school district or a convalescent home or a hospital like a business. That cannot be done. And it cannot be a business. You're working with an individual type thing. So I think that all around us, I see people abandoning their morals, their values in this. I mean, it's just, for example, we now have most of our grocery stores selling alcohol. We have most of our convenience stores that are now going to be selling alcohol. We have Pelham Township approving the marijuana plan. And just this week, Springersbury Township decided to change course. They turned down the initial idea of having a casino or in the running for a casino in the township. The newspaper article yesterday said they changed course and they now have rescinded their objection to it, and they now want it. They would now accept it if they could get it. And there was one lone dissenting township supervisor. And I want you to know, I think she was brave. And she said she would not approve it because she thinks it's morally wrong. I think it's morally wrong. I'm not equating the sale of Pleasant Acres to a private concern with the same thing of being immoral. But what I am equating it to is the almighty dollar. It seems like this almighty dollar thing has taken over much of our thinking in the private sector, in our stores, everywhere else that we go. And now here, as county commissioners, it seems to me that you are considering the almighty dollar above the other values and morals involved in this particular situation here tonight. So I just, I think that we need to really seriously consider something before this decision is made. And I would hope, I take you at your word. I take you at your word that you have not made that decision yet. Although I must tell you from the introduction tonight, many of the people in this room think you already have. And so you need to reassure us that you haven't, because from our brother here who shared, it sounded like it's already been made. And so I think you do need to reassure the public that you have not made that decision yet. And I would just leave you with this one thought. Tonight, when you go to bed, and you're all alone in your bedroom, and you lay your head down on that pillow, I want you to be open. Now, you may not believe this. I want you to be open to the voice of the Holy Spirit. As he speaks to you, allow him to speak to you and allow him to talk to you, and then listen to him. And then you do what he tells you to do.
Oh.
and I'm from York County, and my mom is a patient in Pleasant Acres. We never wanted to put her in a nursing home, and we fought long and hard to keep her home. But it was the best place for her to be. And my aunt, who was able to walk and talk, was in a private nursing home. And within 6 months, she died and had a bed sore that went all the way to her bone. My mom's had one little, whatever you girls call it, because I don't know, but it wasn't a bed sore, and it was cleared up right away. They took immediate care of it. You know, they know me by name when I go in there. I'm like, okay, girls. You know, that doesn't happen every place. And there's so much statistics of people that have private nursing homes. They lower the staff. They have high number of problems, and what they do is they have pay fewer nurses. They cut down on their medical supplies. They cut down on their stuff. Don't do this to Pleasant Acres, because you can't guarantee that's not what they're going to do. And the statistics say that the author of this letter said that if all nursing homes in the United States were operated by not-for-profit basis, 7,000 residents with pressure sores would not have them. And 500,000 more hours of nursing care per day. And you said that there's 90% of Pleasant Acres that's on Medicaid, and you were going to request the 80%. What happens if my mom's in that 10%? Are you throwing her on the street?
I'm gonna get a little emotional here. Many of the workers here know me. My mother is a president over here, and you gonna sell this? Now I'll calm down. Susan Burns is the only commissioner in the last 2 years that I have seen go in them buildings. Thank you. I have served in the military, as you see with my cap, for 10 years. I gave up my time. A lot of these nurses I know personally know me by name. If I go on the floor, they talk to me. They give me answers. My mother was in another home for a year before I moved her out here. Excuse me for saying this, it sucked. But I can't ask for better care here. Change your mind.
We have not made a decision. We do not need to change our minds because we have not made a decision.
Prove it! You said you're right, say no! Prove it and say no!
You're in front of the camera.
Good evening. My name is Evan, past employee at Pleasant Acres. Very, very proud. Thank you. Yes, very proud of working at Pleasant Acres, and I still class it as home, especially for these residents and all the staff here. Everyone works so hard and should be so proud. Now, just a couple of things I'd like to point out financially. First of all, the home over in Lebanon that has been sold, I believe everyone's actually out on strike now. Reason for that, wages went down. They cut the holiday pay, limited everything. First of all, for the employees, that's a big concern, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's happened in various other counties, so that's something to be very concerned about. Also, one thing I have I was only there for 8 years, but the one thing that I loved when I first started there as a volunteer was Pleasant Acres was left in a trust. Now, I'd like you to prove otherwise, that it hasn't been left in a trust. Now, as far as I know, it was left in a trust, for the building was left in a trust, not the beds, because obviously the beds have been able to be leased out now, etc. I know that Wellspan have been coming in leasing beds, so there's another avenue there. But I'd certainly like seriously some answers on this trust. Now, with all due respects, this gentleman here, your solicitor that you've actually brought in for yourselves, we're actually paying for. It's not coming out of your pocket. So maybe him and his team could actually look into this in finer detail, because there is records. There really are records for that. Because to be honest with you, you know, if you're having him here for yourselves, he should actually be representing all of us, not just you guys. So I actually believe that maybe you should do some work for us as well. And I think the first thing that you do tomorrow is to go in and actually knuckle down and find out what is going on with the trust. I know you have the means and the power to do so. And also, really, you guys should start fighting for Pleasant Acres. Not fighting to close it, but fighting to keep it open, keep it run by the county. You guys paid, I say, over $1 million to bring a company in that did a terrible job. I'll give you some free advice. There is other ways and angles to look down. And I'm going to come out of it. People are going to think, ooh, it's a bit scary, but hey, for Christ, why don't you fight to actually legalise marijuana? Look at Colorado and every other bloody state, you know. That's the money that's come in from that. You could afford to actually open another nursing home, not bloody close it. So please, you know, listen to the people here. Listen to the people. This means so much to everyone in the county. You know, Pleasant Acres is a home, and it's special in everybody's heart here, you know. And I believe, actually, Susan, you will fight for Pleasant Acres. I really believe in that, and I really hope that will carry on. But please, you know, the rest of you, please fight for Pleasant Acres. Rather than trying to close it down, fight for Pleasant Acres, and there are other solutions, you know. As I say, if taxes have to go up, you know, a small amount, hey, let's do it for Pleasant Acres, for the people. Because 15 years, this gentleman here said 15 years down the line, you know, they can then make their own decisions. That's bloody scary. Yeah. 15 years goes very quick indeed. So, you know, I beg you guys, please, come up with a solution. There are other ways and means of coming up with the money, but everyone here, everyone at that nursing home deserves it. And you know what would be really nice to see? The one thing that I love doing is volunteering over there, going over and calling some bingo. Please, go and volunteer over there. You know, find some time and go and put something in for the people. Good luck, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion for our public comments. Again, we'd like to thank everyone for coming out here today. As a reminder, there are 2 more town halls. The next one is scheduled for March 7th, and the third one is at March 27th. Again, that will be here and at 6:30. Again, thank you for coming tonight. The commissioners appreciate everything everyone had to say, and please drive home safely.